Welcome in. What's Right with Nick Wright, episode 361. This episode, as always, brought to you by our friends at Boost Mobile. Wow. A lot since we last officially talked, Damonza. Micah Parsons got traded. College football got going in earnest. Some surprising results for some less surprising results for others. And we are 2 days away from the start of the NFL season. Officially 58 hours from now, the Eagles will be taking on the Micah Parsons-less Cowboys in Philadelphia. So all of that is coming up. It is the part 3 and the final part of our preseason NFL gambling show. Also, I noticed, Damonza, you are yet to enter the my official, unofficial Survivor contest. The $25 an entry with my friends at Slash Sports. By the way, they're giving away some entries today to that. A few notes on that. Unpaid endorsement, however, I if I'm being totally transparent, thanks to my friend Phil, I have a little tiny stake in that company. So it's unpaid, but they're people I've worked with. That $5,000 a person Survivor contest with a $1 million guarantee does not yet have 200 entries, which means right now it's looking at maybe an overlay, which is the best value imaginable. So I think a bunch of high rollers are going to come in and max late reg and max entry that thing over the next few days. But if you're considering doing a very expensive Survivor one, that $5,000 one that Helmuth is running on Splash is pretty good. And if you're just doing one for fun with friends, or you want to put a bunch of money down via multiple entries, the $25 one that I have 10 entries in and might do some more, Damonza's about to put at least a couple in, I'm sure. The app's very simple to download. You can do all that, and they even set me up with a pretty cool little URL, splashsports.com/Nick Wright. So if people want to do any of our Survivor stuff, which historically I've done quite well in. Now, some would say it's poor form to win your own contest, but I disagree. And I am going to do my best to win my own contest. So any of those, you guys can check it out. Again, I try to be transparent with the audience. This is not an ad because this is an unpaid endorsement, but I know the guys who run the company. I've known them for years. Phil connected me with them. I put a little tiny bit of money into the company a little bit of ways back, so I do have skin in the game, so to speak, but they're not an endorser. They're just friends of mine that run my contest for me. All right, everybody feel good about it? I feel great about it. Straight to voicemail brought to you by our friends at Boost Mobile. Luka's got a 4th ever Eurobasket triple-double. Triple-doubles in the Olympics and Eurobasket, very hard to come by. LeBron had one in the Olympics. The shorter game, the different style makes triple-doubles difficult. Tyreek Hill, not named a Dolphins captain. Guys, this is a lesson for everyone. And I tried to mention this on the show, but then Wilds got weird about it. Thought I was talking maybe about myself, and I wasn't. This is actually a relationship lesson. Tyreek Hill on the Dolphins. You need to decide whether or not you're still mad and whether or not you can get over something. If you're still mad and you can't get over something, you need to end it. And if you say you're not mad and you're over it, then you can't all of a sudden still be bringing it up 6 months, years later. The Dolphins are like, no, it's all good, Tyreek, but we're still very, very mad at you. And that never works. That never works. Either end it or move on. But this half measure is you can't have the best player on your team not be a captain.
Yeah,
He's the best player on the team. So if you're so mad at him for what he said, then just trade him. Just move on from him in the summer. Because we all know what path this is walking down towards. Tyreek Hill being released after the season and signing with the Kansas City Chiefs. Like, we all know that's where this is going. So you could have circumvented that by maybe trading him, or by really putting your arms around him, being like, Tyreek, heat of the battle, we know that's not you, buddy. And you might say, he didn't deserve that. What he did was wrong. Don't care. I do care, but if you're having him still on the team and you're still all of your hopes and dreams for the season revolve around him, then this whole he's not a captain nonsense I think is silly. And the Milwaukee Bucks have brought back Thanasis, and I assume someone check on Al Horford's sister, who was so devastated for the young man who didn't get drafted because Bronny did. And I would just love to know her thoughts on the young man who Thanasis is taking that roster spot for. And I'm not picking on Al Horford's sister and her very polarizing Twitter feed. It was just the first one that came to mind. I am not hearing a lot of the folks that are like, listen, it's not about LeBron. I'm just anti-nepotism. Their Twitter fingers were awful quiet last night watching Steve Belichick's defense get dog-walked by TCU in that football game. I'm not saying, I'm just saying. Reminder, rate, subscribe, review to the podcast. We have a very cool, I don't want to spoil it, but crossover event happening involved in the podcast very soon with, I don't know, one of the most famous people in the world at this point. I don't know. Maybe that's slightly overstating it, but I don't think so. It feels like he's
that far off.
I don't think it's that far off.
Pretty accurate.
And so I don't want to spoil who it is. It's also someone that I spent some time with. Oh, inside to the show, and then we'll get to the Belichick debut. Sorry, just roll with me here. The event that I spent time with the person that we're doing the crossover with, that I told you guys about. The card game. Part 2 is tonight. I'm doing that after. Yeah, I got the bat signal went up. Another one of those games tonight.
Like the same folks, same circle and everything?
It's certainly the same folks. I don't know if it's the exact same roster.
Right.
I will reveal whatever details I can on Thursday, but that should be good. All right, let's get right to it. Bill Belichick's debut happened. Started good. Hell of an opening drive. And then the rest of the game happened.
They bamboozled in that opening drive, got that opening touchdown, and it was pretty much downhill from there. This was a historically bad opener for UNC actually. What's the state of Bill Belichick? That was pretty rough for him. Obviously, he's an ex-NFL coach.
So this was when we were talking, and we're gonna get to Arch Manning in a second. But when the discussion surrounding Arch Manning over the weekend was a lot of, well, what do you expect from him? It's up against that Matt Patricia pro-style defense. And I said yesterday, I think that is underselling the impact the Ohio State players had and overselling the impact the actual coach had, because to me, that was more about a young player who'd never played on the road, playing in a brutal environment, and the other team having all these pros on defense than it was about Matt Patricia's brilliant scheme. But that was not a popular take. The popular take was that Patricia was Dick LeBeau mixed with Vince Lombardi out there, which would lead you to believe, well, if that's what Patricia's defense looks like, holy smokes, wait till you see his mentor, Bill Belichick's defense, Monday night against TCU. And then what happened? What happened Monday night against TCU was his team with the 70 new players, with all the hype, with Jordan and Mia Hamm and Lawrence Taylor and all the North Carolina royalty in the stadium, got absolutely dog-walked for 3 hours. Because here's the truth, more than anything about college football. Scheme matters to a degree. talent matters more than anything. Why is college coaching so important? For the recruiting. For the, in this day's NIL, the ability to acquire the talent. And it is college. I looked at yesterday's game and I said TCU has a veteran quarterback who's been with the program for 3 years. North Carolina is starting a kid that transferred from South Alabama. I don't care that it's at North Carolina. That is not exactly a super scary or intimidating place to play. And I thought TCU, I didn't think they were going to win by 30, but I thought they'd cover the 3.5. And I think folks that expected Belichick to come in and do a snap, turn them into a contender turnaround, were foolish. Now, oddly, Damonza, I think this actually makes it more likely that Bill Belichick is the North Carolina head coach in a year.
Yeah.
Because the only way he wasn't going to be the North Carolina head coach in a year was if this went so well that an NFL team was like, okay, he's had his time off. We now want to bring him in. I don't think it's going to go that way. And I do think that it is totally fair and totally in bounds to ask the question, does 70-something-year-old Bill Belichick have his eye on the ball here? That how much of Belichick, Mr. No Distractions, do your job, keep the main thing, how much of that has been weakened by this 3+ year at this point relationship with wannabe starlet Jordan Hudson? That's fair. That's not out of bounds. That isn't, you're bringing up the guy's personal life, because they have made their relationship super public via Instagram posts, podcast interviews, the CBS Morning News, and via the weirdest business run of attempting to trademark gold digger and other weird stuff that you just know is going to shine the spotlight on the coach and his girlfriend, who is, the coach is older than Damonza's grandmother, and the girlfriend is younger than Damonza. That's all fair. And the only way to knock that out and have it just be a side thing is to be great. And not only do I not think they're going to be great, I think the expectations were a touch too high. You watched that game last night and you said to yourself, oh, are they going to have competent quarterback play? That's a fair question. Then you watched that game last night and you said to yourself, oh, does that defense, you've got to assume the defense is well coached, so how do we explain what we saw? Do they just really not have the personnel? Then you ask yourself the question of, how long has it been since we have known Bill Belichick is an above average talent evaluator? All those things come together for some very nervous times. So now listen, they get Charlotte, Richmond, and then UCF. I'll be totally honest, I don't know how good UCF is supposed to be this year. They will beat Charlotte and Richmond. And they don't have, because they're in the ACC and because of the draw they have, the only juggernaut on their schedule is Clemson. But in a month, when they host Clemson, it's going to look like the TCU game, but worse. And if TCU, a team on the fringes of the top 25, but outside of it, can do that to you, then you really worry about what any of the legitimate Power 5 programs are going to do to them. And so,
Do you think that anything that happens throughout this season is going to affect his legacy? Can it do that positively or negatively, or is it too early?
No, listen. If he went to college football and was awesome, that would positively affect his legacy. Him going to college football and being awful will not, in my opinion, negatively affect his legacy, except it will affect it like this. In 30 years, Damonza, when you're talking sports with young people, and they're talking about the greatest coaches of all time. And they're like, yeah, and and Bill Belichick at that point is like Vince Lombardi. Right. You know what I mean? Where they add like what made him great or whatever. You'll be like, and really weird end for him.
Right.
He went and coached college and dated this 20-year-old, and like it kind of, the
last thing you remember about him.
Right, but it won't be a thing. My point is this. It won't be a thing that actually sticks to the legacy. It will just be a thing that people who were here for it remember.
Bring it
up.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? But it won't stick to it for those in the history books. Now, here's where it does hurt his legacy to a degree, at least in my mind. And sorry if we're taking some internet hits. We got nothing open but the script, so I got no way around that. Oh, there is one thing I can do. Hold on. He needed to be really good at North Carolina, Damonza, to have a chance to get back to the NFL and run down Shula.
Yeah.
So that part, you know what I mean? That part hurts him. But no, this is not his NFL legacy. And I know people are going to throw up the record with Brady, record without Brady. The problem for that is we all saw, like those of us that saw those first 3 Patriot championships understand how great they were defensively and that Brady wasn't Brady yet. And those of us that are being fair also remember the final Patriot championship where they scored 13 points in the Super Bowl and Belichick's defense made Sean McVay and Todd Gurley and Jared Goff look totally inept on the biggest stage. So like that I'm not going to allow like the revisionist history on that, but this is a very auspicious end or beginning to the final chapter. All right, now let's talk Arch Manning.
So Arch did not look like what everybody anticipated him to look like. He could not connect with his receivers. He threw for 1 touchdown. He had a pick, a lot of like oh-no's. So he entered the game with the top odds for the Heisman. He dropped down to 8. What would you say is next for Arch Manning?
Well, sports media has become doing this job has become really interesting. It's always been interesting, but an interesting thing has happened over the last 5 years. And hands up. I'm guilty of it to a degree, for sure. Which is very often, before there's even been a news cycle about the event, the news cycle turns to the reaction to the event. And so, like, before, during the game, there was already, like, a pushback to the pushback. It was like, during the game, there were memes or jokes being sent, like, Arch Manning if his name wasn't Manning. And then, before the game's even over, there is, like, a backlash to that. Where it's like, oh, we're going to write this kid off for dead based on 3 quarters. And then by the time it's actually the next morning and it's time to, or 2 days later, and it's time to talk about the games, some of it is talking about the game, and some of it is talking about the commentary during the game online about the expectation, and it's all very meta and weird. So here is my take on Arch Manning. I was not, in no particular order. First one, I was not surprised with what we saw. Now, I thought it would be higher scoring than that, but I thought if you've never played on the road, and you're on the road against maybe the best team in college football that has 8 or 9 guys on its defense that are going to be pros, including the best player in college football, Caleb Downs, certainly the best defensive player, the odds are stacked massively against you. And so in that regard, I was not shocked by what we saw. There's one take. Here's another take. I am not writing Arch Manning off as a pro. I'm not writing him off as even the number 1 overall pick at some point. I am pretty damn close, Damonza, to writing him off for this year's Heisman Trophy. For 2 reasons. One is that game counts, and it's hard to win the Heisman if, one of your highest profile games of the year, you play that poorly. And the other one is, because how I watched him play, I don't expect him to have this, now all of a sudden rip off 10 straight A-plus games or A-level games. So I do think that's fair. Another take from the game. Some of that was scheme, and some of that was nerves. First play of the game, he short hops a pass. I'm not a passing mechanics expert, but a lot of his throws seemed weird. You know what I mean? Like, it didn't look like how you expect it to look. I also think that late in the game, he had guys open when they were down 7 on that final drive and missed some easy passes. Sorry, there's a gnat here I'm trying to catch. So I think all of that to me is fair in what I saw. Now, was he overhyped? Probably a little. So here's the deal. He went to, you look at his high school stats, and you look at the high school highlights, and you realize, okay, this is not, he didn't play in a district like Kempner, Damonza. Kempner is the, 3,000 person 6A high school Damonza went to in Houston.
Very diverse.
He went to his school might be diverse, but it's not a powerhouse.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I'm not saying Kempner was a powerhouse, but it played in a district with, a bunch of huge Texas schools. Yeah. He went to the Louisiana school his family's gone to. There not a lot of, future D1 kids on his team or the teams he's playing, and it was weird. His numbers were not, you look at some of these kids' high school numbers, and it's like, holy shit, threw for 5,000 yards and 55 touchdowns, and it wasn't that. Okay, not the biggest deal in the world, but that is a data point. You then look at the fact that he didn't play his first 2 years. And his first year, true freshman, no problem, we're going to redshirt him. Last year, Texas trying to win a national championship. Quinn Ewers is a good college player. Who was a 7th round NFL draft pick, but a good college player. They decided Quinn Ewers is our better option. That's just a data point. It's not the biggest deal in the world, but it's a data point. And the 2 previous guys, Damonza, and now listen, we'll see what type of pro Caleb ends up being, and Trevor right now is teetering. But the 2 previous guys who were that's the number 1 pick of the draft, we knew it a year ahead of time. That was not their college story. Trevor Lawrence walked into Clemson as a true freshman and kicked everybody's ass. They went undefeated. They won the national championship. He was awesome. He was 38-2 as a starter, started immediately. Caleb Williams, as a true freshman, gets dropped into the Red River Shootout, trailing Texas, like 21-7. And as a 19-year-old, leads an insane comeback. And it's like, oh, okay. That the environment didn't matter. That guy is the goods. That's not yet where Arch is. Now, you guys know how much I like pedigree. You know how much I like measurables. I'm not writing the kid off at all. Am I being honest when I say if his name weren't Manning, the hype would be drastically different? Of course. And I don't think that's unfair. And so here's what I think, Damonza, for Arch. Their next 3 games are San Jose State, UTEP, Sam Houston State. It would not surprise me at all if he leaves those 3 games with 1,000 yards passing and 11 touchdowns and no turnovers. Like, I think that's on the board. And then it's at Florida in the swamp. And then it's the Red River Shootout. And I'm very interested to see how he plays in those spots. Now, one other thing that I just think is a fair data point. Caleb Downs, who everyone is calling the best player in college football and had a huge impact and all of that, he and Arch are the same high school class. Like, it is unique for a player that everyone's like tanking for him, number 1 pick, to have, by his 3rd year in college, not done anything. And again, his first year, redshirt him, no problem. His 2nd year, they're on a team that can win the national championship. He's sitting behind a senior, sure. But is it now more on the board than before that he actually plays 2 years at Texas? I think so. And again, maybe we're going to look back and Ohio State's going to do this to every single quarterback they play. I don't think that's going to happen because I think they're going to play some 4th-year starter that's going to be a future undrafted free agent that is not as rattled by the environment and by the scheme and by the talent, even if he doesn't have the upside of Arch Manning. So that's where I land. Go ahead, pal.
Do you think with Arch and Belichick failing so early, because those were obviously the 2 huge college stories coming into this year, everybody will start really locking in on the NFL and kind of pushing away from football?
Well, listen, for some people, college football is their number 1 favorite sport.
Right.
The new show that just started today on FS1, I think Wake Up Barstool, I think a bunch of the guys involved in that, college football is their absolute favorite. College football is the 2nd most popular sport in America. So the nation at large, no. Me personally, I am vast majority NFL over college football, but I thought this year, week 1 before the NFL started, had so many amazing games I was into it. I'm kind of glad that week 2 does not have those types of matchups. I'm looking at week 2, and Michigan-Oklahoma is the one game that is must-see. Like Saturday night. So Thursday night, we got Eagles-Cowboys. Friday night, Chiefs-Chargers. Saturday night, Michigan-Oklahoma. And then Sunday, your full slate. And then I'm just looking at like the marquee matchups early in the college football season. Tennessee-Georgia in week 3, that jumps out at you. Florida-LSU, week 3, that jumps out at you. And then week 4, Florida-Miami jumps out. And then it really starts ramping up. This is, I think, actually smart. I don't know if this was on purpose or just how it landed. Week 1, before the NFL started, college football all out. All these amazing matchups. And then a bit of a, not lull, But you know what I mean? This is when teams play a lot of their non-conference games, their cash games, all that stuff. And then into September, we get Oregon, Penn State, Alabama, Georgia. You know what I mean? In the same window. Week 6, you get Texas, Florida, and that's probably the big game is Texas, Florida. Week 7, Ohio State, Illinois, South Carolina, LSU, and Florida A&M. And then it ramps back up. So what is true is I will be more locked in on the NFL, but I always am. But I'm going to watch Arch, and I'm going to keep an eye on North Carolina, and I'm interested in how Jeremiah Smith bounces back from a mediocre game, couple drops. Ohio State and this run of kicking ass against top 5 teams, pretty impressive. So it's not backburnered, but the NFL takes over here starting in 2 days. Ever sign up for a phone plan thinking, wow, amazing price. And then a few months later, it's like, surprise, bills higher. With Boost Mobile, you pay $25 a month forever. That's unlimited talk, text, and data starting at just $25 a month. No price hikes, no contract, forever. Plus, Boost Mobile is now a legit nationwide 5G network. They've invested billions building 5G towers across the country. Visit boostmobile.com or head to your local Boost store today and get unlimited talk, text, and data for $25 a month forever. 5G speeds not available in all areas. After 30 gigs, customers may experience slower speeds. Customers will pay $25 a month as long as they remain active on the Boost Unlimited plan. All right, Damonza, you haven't had a chance to react to the Micah Parsons trade and your Green Bay Packers. I don't know if they're your Packers, but you like Jordan Love.
I like Jordan Love. But yeah, we talked about it.
I did an emergency pod on Friday on it, and now let's get into it more. Go ahead.
Yeah, so you addressed it a little bit already, but it kind of seems like Micah Parsons' teammates didn't really like him. Dak said that he's just glad that there was a solution. The players in the locker room apparently said that he was egotistical and self-centered, and nobody was apparently a huge fan of his podcast. Do you think that the Cowboys are just coping here?
To a degree, yes. And here's the thing. I don't need my star pass rusher to be the most popular guy in the locker room. Star pass rushers, star receivers allowed to be a little red flags. And when we look at the history of star pass rusher, if the red flag we're talking about talks a little too much and has a podcast, that you'll take it. Like, I was pretty amazed at the snap turning on Parsons via anonymous sources. When, again, sometimes your star pass rusher is Dwight Freeney, and he's just, or Jason Taylor, and it's just great dude, great leader, Walter Payton Man of the Year type. More often than not, there's a little extra there. Lawrence Taylor was not winning any teammate awards. Jared Allen just went in the Hall of Fame. Had a lot of off-field issues, particularly early in his career that he talked about. Von Miller has dealt with a bunch of stuff. He's a great player. Charles Haley, who was great for the Cowboys and the Niners, was a certified maniac. Like, we can go up and down the list of, on the edge pass rusher. And for any of those guys, like Micah doesn't get in any trouble. Micah is not he's incredibly available. He's a hard worker. He's wildly productive. And now all of a sudden, the Cowboys company line, after they were dying to pay him $40+ million a year and give him reportedly $150 million guaranteed, he sucked against the run and he was a pain in the ass. Give me a break. Jerry got in a battle of egos with the agent and traded away their best player. Now, I think there is an argument that that's what they should have done once they got themselves in this spot. Once you pay Dak too much, once you pay CD top of the market, once you miss on some draft picks, once you deal with some other injuries, sometimes, and once you squander the opportunity to get Micah signed a year ago, before the market exploded, maybe this is what you've got to do. But don't tell me this is because actually when you crunch the numbers, Micah Parsons sucked against the run and that's what's killed us. He's the best player on your team. And you wanted to sign him. And so I don't buy this revisionist history, even if, and I said this on Friday, I'll say it again, the Cowboys had put themselves in a no-win situation. Because if Dallas had signed Micah to the exact deal Green Bay had signed Micah to, we'd all be talking about how Jerry got taken to the cleaners. If Dallas had given Micah $47 million a year, we'd be killing him for it. And I think that it is understandable to say we're not going to be able to win with 3 players taking up more than 50% of our salary cap. The only team that's close to that is Cincinnati, and they can't win that way. So, I do understand that once they got here, why they traded him. But don't try to sell me the bill of goods that, it's addition by subtraction. And I don't want, if it's true that Dak was relieved or, is good with Micah being gone, then I hope Dak is as good as his biggest supporters believe he is. Because they're going to have to be a better version of the Bengals last year.
I didn't like Dak saying that, honestly. Glad there was
I
feel like
it's good that a solution happened.
Yeah, I didn't really like that. And then he's like the guy that's reaping all the benefits. He's getting paid. He's not even that good. It's just I don't know. I've never really been a big Dak guy, but
he's a company man, that's for sure.
Yeah, exactly.
And
he's the biggest winner in all of this, honestly.
Well, I mean, it becomes his team unequivocally.
Yeah.
But they didn't start having those 12-win seasons until Micah got there. And if people want to be like Micah doesn't show up in the playoffs, first of all, I don't know that I agree with you. But second of all, the sample size is minute. And third of all, we don't want to talk about guys not showing up in the playoffs as a defense of Dak Prescott. We don't want to do that. And so listen, I thought the Cowboys were going to finish last in that division before they traded Micah, which is actually an argument to trade Micah. If you're going to finish last with him, then maybe you do need to reset to a degree. And I'm a longtime Kenny Clark fan. So I think he had a down year. I think he'll be good for them. But this does feel like a lot of cope to me, Damonza, without a shadow of a doubt. All right, I know you have some Micah follow-ups we want to get to.
Yeah, I was about to say, Schefter reported that Micah might take an epidural before the Lions game. If you were the coach, would you even have him play in this situation?
I think he's going to play, but I think it's going to be a limited. I'm not worried about his back as much as I'm worried about him not having a full ramp up and soft tissue stuff. So I think he will be in this game probably like a third down specialist. And then by week 2, be closer to a full go. But I'm less worried about the back and more worried about when you don't have a training camp, how much does that lead to potential early season injuries. Keep going.
Do you think that he will stop podcasting?
So I'd be shocked if he did. That's like a real business for him. He has like a real job with Bleacher Report on it. He really likes it. And to me, that would be almost conceding that he did something wrong here. When again, I don't feel he did. And I just, one last kind of, the Cowboys obviously are hoping this is their version of the Tyreek Hill trade. You trade away a great player, but you get a bunch of draft picks that help you rebuild deficiencies on the team. What I would... Where I would push back on that in defense of Micah is Tyreek had real off-the-field issues. Real. Dating from college and then other stuff that popped up as a pro and has gotten in, real trouble, and as a Dolphin has been, way worse of a teammate than Micah ever was. So, Micah talks a lot. And I understand that some guys on the defense, took some issue with it. But on the list of, NFL problems, that to me is not one of them. Not a real one at least.
Tears in the chat asks, is it not still super on the board that the Packers finished third in their own division?
Listen, I think it is. I think it's on the board. Yeah. I mean, I think that's the toughest division in football. And it really is. This is just such a huge bet on Jordan Love. And no player in my lifetime has gotten more of a pass on a 3-interception playoff game than Jordan Love got this past year. I don't even think people remember that happened. I think, honest to God, if you ask football fans, hey, tell me about that Eagles-Packers playoff game, I think they'll be like, I feel like there was an opening drive or opening kickoff fumble. What, you forgot it?
I didn't remember there were three picks in the game.
Correct. That's what I'm saying. Lamar had those 2 early turnovers. We talked about it all offseason.
Yeah.
Herbert threw those 4 picks. Talked about it all offseason. Goff had those 3 picks. Talked about it all offseason. Jordan Love, a year after, again, 2 years ago.
He was hurt.
Right. 2 years ago, they're down 3 against the Niners with a minute left in the playoffs, right around midfield. He made a horrible decision through that pick, but it was he was so good late in the year, so good in the Cowboys game, whatever. And then last year, people have kind of redone history in their brain of that Eagles team was just a wagon juggernaut that was rolling through everybody. That's them rolling through everybody started in the conference championship game.
Yeah. The game was winnable.
Jalen Hurts at halftime of their first playoff game had 6 completions for 35 yards. It was Jordan Love mistakes in the Eagles defense that, was putting the Eagles in that position, and nobody cares. And that's fine. I'm not even trying to kill Jordan Love. My point is, it's a huge bet on Jordan Love. That we're, you know what I mean? Micah will
right
be
now.
The final
we think
piece.
You can do it. Right.
Yes, absolutely right. All right, let's do the NFL 100. Oh, go ahead.
Well, would you? So a lot of people are obviously comparing this to the Luka trade. Do you want to talk about that? How it could be similar, the similarities and differences?
No, I don't think it's. I think it's similar in that they're both in Dallas and they're both the team's best player. But the Luka trade was indefensible and abjectly shocking. This trade, the guy demanded a trade, and the team, they were in a big dispute. You know what I mean? And guys Micah's caliber, as great as Micah is, get traded in the NFL.
I was just
Ramsey got
thinking
traded, Khalil Mack got traded.
Right, with how much they meant to their respective teams. I honestly think Micah Parsons might have meant a little bit more to the Cowboys than Luka.
That's insane.
That's crazy.
That's crazy.
I think the Mavericks are left in better shape after Luka left, and the Cowboys are screwed.
Well, 2 things. The
Cowboys were already
screwed. But the Cowboys' big return is draft picks. The Mavs' big return was a player. So that's one piece of it. And the only reason we don't think the Mavs are screwed is because they got lucky and got Cooper Flagg. The Luka trade's the most shocking trade in sports in 30 years.
It was
the Micah trade to me is in a totally different bucket. All right, let's do the NFL Top 100 real quick.
So the top 100 is out. We got Saquon at number 1. Behind him, we got my guy Lamar. We got Allen at 3rd, Chase at 4th, and then Mahomes at 5. How
I'll
long do
be
you think
honest.
it'll be until we see Mahomes throwing up the 5 after a
Throwing up
touchdown
the 5.
pass? Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if he'll do that. I know he counted to 8 once when he came in
Yeah.
8th. I think he's maybe is past that, maybe not. I'll also say
It's
I was
business
fine
this
with this. I was fine with this, believe it or not. Like, I thought there was a chance they were really going to insult him. But 5th, behind the 2 quarterbacks who were jostling for MVP last year, I don't find to be outrageous.
year. Yeah.
I know people want, like, I obviously think he's the best player in the sport. I think everybody deep down thinks he's the best player in the sport. But Saquon being number 1, you know who was number 1 a year ago on this list? Do you know? It'll shock you.
Was it a year ago on this list? Was it Josh or was it Lamar?
Nope. It was not a quarterback.
Was it Tyreek Hill?
Yes.
Wasn't it Tyreek? Yeah,
It was
Tyreek
Tyreek.
Hill.
Yeah. And so I think this list kind of, it seems like as of late, leans toward, if possible, non-quarterback record-breaking year. And Saquon had a chance to have the single most prolific rushing season in NFL history, so him being number 1 is fine. Chase being ahead of Burrow, I don't know but again, 4 versus 6. Like, this is, if Mahomes had been outside of the top 5, I would have been irritated. But Mahomes was 4 last year, 5 this year. They do it before the playoffs. I don't know, honestly, if that helped or hurt Patrick. Because obviously he was great in the lead up to the Super Bowl and then struggled in the Super Bowl. And so like, that to me is, I'm not going to.
It's fair.
Yeah, I think it actually is fair. Like, it's not where I would have him, but Lamar won MVP 2 years ago, almost won it last year. Josh did win MVP last year. They do it before the playoffs, like, so be it. I'm not going to flip out about this. I do think Mahomes is going to have an insane season, but we're going to get into more of that on Thursday. We'll do our final season preview stuff on Thursday as well, but I want to get to part 3 of the gambling show. If for no other reason than I want to recap what we've done and then get to Damonza's picks and my final picks. So, we did 6 official. If you want to hear all 32 overs and unders, again, like, rate, subscribe, review. It's on YouTube, it's on iTunes, it's on Spotify, everywhere you can get your podcast. And you can hear my picks for all 32 teams. But there are 6 bets that we are making, okay? We are betting the overs for the following teams with the following juice. Jags over 7.5 minus 125. I think the Jags are going to make the playoffs. I think Trevor is going to have a bounce back year. I also think he knows this is kind of a make or break year for him. He luckily already got paid, but as far as him being considered like a no doubt franchise quarterback, they've got to be good. I think they will be, and they only have to win 8 games. The Bears over 8.5 at plus 115. I like everything about the team. I love the coach, at least this. I love their offensive coordinator, who's also their head coach. I can't yet say if I know Ben Johnson will be good at the head coaching stuff. I know he's good at the play calling stuff. I don't mind the tough love on Caleb, so they're an over. I have Kansas City. You just bet the Chiefs over every single year. I mean, it's since Andy's been there, pre-Mahomes, it has failed to hit one time. And if they only win, if they go 12-5, people would consider that a bit of a disappointment, and it would hit their over. Tampa over 9.5 is probably my favorite bet of all of these. I think the Bucs have a real shot to be the 1 seed in the NFC. And I think that they are going to win at least 11 games, maybe 12 or 13. That's minus 120. The Raiders over 6.5 at minus 145. They're the team everyone thinks is going to be bad that I think is going to be good. And Atlanta over 7.5 at -140. Again, they won 8 games last year with Cousins falling apart. And I think, year 2 of Raheem Morris with the defense, those are my overs. Damonza, of those 6, what is your favorite and what is your least favorite of my 6 overs there?
Favorite? I gotta say, man, I think it's the Jags over 7.5.
Love it.
Least favorite? I don't really. I guess if I had to choose one, my least favorite would be the Bears. But I don't disagree.
But you don't hate it,
right?
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Now the unders, 6 unders as well. Bengals under 9.5 at -115. I just don't see a team with those. I think they have real question marks on the O-line and obvious question marks all over the defense. And I think Zach Taylor's seat is very hot. I don't think they're getting to double-digit wins. The Colts under 7.5 at -130. This is my favorite of the unders. I think they could end up with the number 1 pick of the draft. I think that is absolutely on the board. The Broncos under 9.5 at +110. I think the Broncos are going to get out to a decent start. People are going to be crowing. I think the final 2 months of the season are going to be brutal for them. I also think people have overestimated what they're going to get from Bo Nix this year. And their two major defensive additions are such injury risks to me that I don't know that they're going to get the boost from them that people expect.
You could possibly
so I'll take
bet
under
this again in
9.5.
a few weeks with better odds.
Oh, if they get off to a good start, yeah, sure, absolutely, yeah, that's on the board. Cowboys under 8.5 -145. I did this before the Parsons trade. I assume odds have shifted on this, but we've made these bets already. Vikings under 9.5 -125. I just think it's a lot to ask in that division for a de facto rookie quarterback. And I just think the Niners win total's wrong. I think the Niners are looked at, I understand the schedule's soft, as like a tier 2 Super Bowl contender. I don't look at them that way. I think that they are, a 7-8 win team. So I will take under 10.5 for the Niners. My favorite there is, as I mentioned, the Colts. Damonza, your favorite, your least favorite.
Least favorite there is Bengals. Favorite. Yeah, I agree with the Niners. Yeah, the 49ers.
It's just a big number, man.
Yeah, 100%.
They can win the division and hit their under. Like that, it's just a big number. All right, miss playoffs, do it quickly. Jags +180, Chiefs -380, Raiders +340 for a half unit, Giants 5-1 for a quarter unit, and the Bucks -170. Those are make playoffs. Miss playoffs, Steelers -140, Colts -260, Broncos +130, Cowboys -210. Again, that one is moved, but I got it in time. The Vikings +100, 2 units on that one, and the Cardinals -140. And then a miss playoffs parlay. I did a few of these last year that screwed me. I'm only doing one. 4 teams that I think are likely to finish in dead last in their division. Saints, Jets, Browns, Colts. All to miss the playoffs. -135, 2 units. I am acutely aware, Damonza, that the Colts have a chance to be the Jags for me this year. Or 2 years ago.
Yeah.
You remember 2 years ago, I would have had a hugely profitable preseason, gambling shows. But I had the Jags involved in 4 separate bets. I lost them all. And because the Jags weren't as good as I thought. The Colts, if the Colts are really good, I lose this, I lose the miss the playoffs bet, and I lose their under. Luckily, Daniel Jones is greatly involved, so I'm not worried about that.
Yeah, so I'm still getting accustomed to the betting and stuff.
Yeah.
Parlaying 4 things to just get -135, is that
it's
not
terrible odds?
Okay.
No. It's terrible value.
Okay.
Yes, you are correct in telling me that is a square wager.
Okay. I
Putting
just wanted to make
things
sure.
putting four things together just for the opportunity to lay minus 135 is terrible process.
Awesome.
But
I'm seeing things correctly.
I just feel, no, you're right. I just feel like Saints, Jets, Browns are just DOA for the playoffs. And so it's I have the Colts to miss the playoffs at minus 260, and then I have them basically again to miss the playoffs at minus 135. So that's the way I'm doing it. It's not good process. You're right. All right. The new picks, before we get to Damonza's picks, which were wildly profitable last year. We are only doing 3 division winner bets. And I can't believe the first 2 of these, Damonza, are only minus 115. Tell the audience the first one.
All right, no surprise here. We got the Chiefs to win the AFC West, at minus 115.
Yeah, they win it every year. Mahomes is 35-5 in his career in the division. They win it by an average in Mahomes' career by 4 games. Last year, the AFC West had 3 playoff teams. It was such a tough division. They won it by 4 games despite throwing week 18. Minus 115, I'll take the Chiefs over the field. The next one, another team, Damonza, that wins their division every year. Only minus 115. What is it?
We've got the Bucks to win the NFC South at
minus 115. Like, the Saints and Panthers to me are no shotters. And I just think the Bucks are going to be really good. And then the last, I might like that even more than I like the Chiefs one. But just because
how weak the division is.
Yeah, exactly right. And then I found a plus money parlay here, Damonza. Only 2 teams.
So we got a division winner. We got Baltimore plus Buffalo at plus 106. I'd say that's another safe one.
I mean, that's really, to me, just fading the Bengals. Maybe I'm wrong. I'm not worried about the Steelers. It's just maybe the defense somehow with the new D coordinator is average. The offense is the same, and they have an awesome year. But Baltimore and Buffalo are such regular season juggernauts that putting them together at plus 106 to me makes sense. And then our annual tradition, Super Bowl exacta. 3 years ago, we had Chiefs-Niners, and the Niners found themselves in the conference championship game. 2 years ago, we had Chiefs-Cowboys, and the Cowboys found themselves with 12 wins. Last year, we had Chiefs-Bears, and the Bears had a season from hell and missed the playoffs. This year, the Super Bowl exacta at 55-1 is, drum roll please, Damonza.
We got Kansas City versus Tampa Bay in the Super Bowl exacta at plus 5,500.
How about and then obviously, spoiler, Super Bowl exacta with the winner.
Right. Kansas City to defeat Tampa Bay at plus 11,000.
Indeed. So, Damonza, here's something I didn't even think about when I made this pick. Brew mentioned it. The Chiefs with Mahomes have been to 5 Super Bowls. All rematches. Played Philly twice. Played San Francisco twice. The one other team they played, Tampa Bay. Another Super Bowl rematch. Bake Show against Patrick. Revisiting the craziest college football game ever played. Do you know about their college football game, Damonza?
What, Mahomes and Baker against each other?
Yeah,
I'm sure they probably lit each other up.
Hold on. Well, Damonza, so let me just tell you real quick. 2016, because they have played in the playoffs before. All right, so the final score, Damonza, hold on. Let me just go to Patrick Mahomes college stats. Final score was 66-59. So that gives you a little bit of a preview. Yeah. It was Texas Tech where Baker started against Oklahoma. And hold on, where is it? Here it is. The final stats are as follows. Joe Mixon was in the game. He ran for 260, okay, and 4 touchdowns. But that wasn't the story. The story was Baker. Baker was 27 of 36, only threw 36 passes for 545 yards, 7 touchdowns, no picks.
Jesus.
Okay?
Okay.
Patrick was 52 of 88
Oh, he was slinging
for 734 yards. 5 touchdowns.
They didn't have a running back?
Well, no, they did have a running back go 12 carries for 85 yards and 2 touchdowns. That running back's name was Patrick Mahomes. So Mahomes in that game combined for 810 yards, 7 touchdowns, 1 pick. Bake Show in that game never ran the ball, threw for 545 and 7 touchdowns on just 36 attempts. Mahomes threw it 88 times. It is an all-time legendary college football game.
Sounds like a fun one, yeah.
Yeah. October 22nd, 2016. All-timer. And so they've played in the playoffs before. Patrick got hurt against Baker was there in the Browns. And yeah, that's my that's
Super Bowl
my
exacta.
Super Bowl exacta. I cannot wait. Hold on one second. Okay. I have to see what this is. Okay, never mind. We're fine. All right, Damonza. Now the most important part. Last year, Damonza gave you Baltimore to win the AFC North at plus 145, Jaden to win Rookie of the Year at 6-1, Kansas City to win the AFC at plus 350, and then 2 losers, but that's fine. Hugely profitable. This year, what are your top 5 preseason bets?
All right, so these are the 5 future bets that I love. First off, we've got the Jags to win the AFC South at plus 300.
Love it. So proud.
I just think they can do that. Cincinnati to lose in the divisional round at plus 425.
Whoa, hold on. Let's slow down a bit.
Yes.
That's a very specific bet. They have to make the playoffs.
Exactly.
Win a playoff game and then get beat. Go ahead.
Because I'll just say the last one on here, because I expect Joe Burrow to have the most passing yards. That will be at plus 450. Because I think they'll sneak in as like a wild card team, and I think they'll even win a playoff game. But then I think they'll lose. And then I got the Ravens to win the Super Bowl at plus 600. I know that's conflicting.
That's not conflicting.
Oh, with me? No,
I think
me
that's
and you.
fine. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, of course. That's fine.
Then we got Bijan Robinson to have the most rushing touchdowns at plus 1,100. So these kind of all over the place, but those
I like them.
Linear.
And here's the thing. If you hit the Jags bet and lose all the others, you lose 1 unit. That's it. If you hit any of the other bets, you guaranteed profit because they're all plus 425 or better. And if you hit multiple again, you're guaranteed huge profit. So that's great. I like the Bijan Robinson most rush touchdowns one.
Me too.
Me
too.
Your nervousness there should actually be more about quarterback than a running back. No, Jalen or Josh.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, like that's a
fair.
Sneaky one where like one of them could snipe you on it. But I like it. All right.
It's funny. I actually
like
did look up, because when I was looking for the most rushing touchdowns, I went and looked at Josh Allen's. Forget what his over-under was, but yeah, I just felt more comfortable doing a running back. Hopefully he doesn't hawk me there. But thank you, sir.
I love it. All right, so let's go to some listener questions, Damonza. And remember, like, rate, subscribe, review, all of that. Let's go to X.
X says, if the Chiefs are the team you've been most right about and the Eagles the team you've been most wrong about the last 5 years, what NFL teams are second on your most right, most wrong list?
Second most right is the Bills, without a doubt. I've been right about them every single year, including last year when I believed in them when other people didn't. Second most wrong.
Warriors.
I think you're talking NFL.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. I just couldn't wait to jump on the opportunity.
Second most wrong is that's an interesting one. Who's a team?
NFL?
Oh, the Jags. The Jags.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah, that's easy. Now it took me a minute, but it's the Jags. That's for sure. Go to Robert, please.
Robert asks, Nick, any interest in joining me and my buddy for a practice round at Augusta next April? We'll have a 4th ticket. You buy the sandwiches, and we're good. Oh wow.
Is that real?
That is a real.
I mean, if that's
Robert.
real, the answer is yes.
Gotta bring the
I'm gonna have to take. I'm gonna. If that is a real invite, I am going to start taking golf lessons now, just so I don't hack up Augusta National. But yeah, I've never been. If that's a real invite, that's yes.
It's happening.
That's a yes.
Okay.
That would be unbelievable. Oh, by the way, I don't want to say the guy's full name because he might not want me to. But there's this really nice guy named Chad who is a KC guy who's was very, very successful in business, started a company, sold it. And he is a fan of the show and reached out a few years ago, if you remember.
Yeah,
he took me and your mom, Damonza, to Celtics Mavs. Courtside for the finals.
Courtside, 100%.
Yeah. He is in New York and is going to watch the show tomorrow. And then he and I are sitting like center court, second row, U.S. Open, which I'm so excited about. So I will absolutely, like, here's the deal. I am not as social as people might expect. I'm a little socially awkward in public settings at times. I get over it for unbelievable sporting events. And I was really glad I did it with Chad because he was such a cool guy. We sat and had drinks with me and your mom and him and his buddy. He's in the, again, I don't know how much of his, bio he would want me to say, but he has a really interesting career and story. And if this person's really inviting me to Augusta National, like, I have to go. By the way, if Danny hears this, Danny's going to be so mad. Danny is like, loves golf, is a good golfer, and oh my goodness. Caleb wants to know what happened being ball boy for the U.S. Open. I didn't try out this year. And Tom says, Nick Wright has that BS captain take on Tyreek Hill when Hill was never even named a captain during his time with the Chiefs. So I guess 2 points here. One is, I didn't know that. Second is, he wasn't the best player on the team. Third, Travis Kelce was, and then Mahomes was. Third is, if he had never been a captain with the Dolphins, it'd be fine. But he was a captain the last 2 years. So a nice, good try, good effort, Tom. But they're it's apples to bowling balls there. All right, like, rate, subscribe, review. Appreciate you guys watching, listening, inviting me to Augusta National, all that. Again, if you guys want to play Survivor with me, splashsports.com/Nick Wright for all the contests I'm involved in. And enjoy tonight. Get rest, folks. Get some good rest tonight and tomorrow. We're in a football gauntlet starting on Thursday. I'll talk to you guys then. What's right?